At 8:17 on an ordinary Monday morning, every trusted satellite navigation signal across a large region disappears. Not only the American GPS satellites, but every constellation that receivers in the area can normally use. Your phone still has power. The internet still works. The streets have not moved, yet the blue dot freezes, jumps across the block, and then vanishes. A rideshare driver misses a pickup. A courier stops between two entrances. A tractor leaves the perfect line it followed yesterday. In an airport cockpit, one navigation source is marked unreliable, and the crew begins comparing it with other instruments. This is not a prediction that every country would fail in exactly the same way. It is a 24-hour experiment, a large area where machines can no longer trust the signals arriving from the sky. We will follow the first 10 minutes, the first hour, the long drift through the day, and the moment the signal returns. Because the strangest part of losing GPS is not that machines forget where they are. It is that, slowly and unevenly, they stop agreeing on when they are. For the first 10 minutes, almost nothing looks dramatic. Phones combine the last trusted location with Wi-Fi networks, cell towers, and motion sensors. Cars continue moving along roads. Aircraft remain under control. Ships do not suddenly turn toward land. The machines begin by guessing. A navigation app advances the dot using speed and direction, but every turn makes the estimate less certain. Delivery workers call customers to confirm an entrance. Survey crews stop before placing a marker they cannot verify. Construction equipment falls back from automatic guidance to a human operator. Emergency dispatchers can still speak with callers, but a caller who cannot describe the street becomes harder to locate. This is the first visual pattern of the day. Screens continue showing answers after the source of certainty has disappeared. Some answers are close enough. Others drift. The difference is difficult to see until a person checks the screen against the real world. There is no explosion. There are U-turns, repeated questions, clipboards, and people walking outside. The outage first appears as friction. 1 extra minute added to millions of ordinary tasks. Between 10 minutes and 1 hour, the missing precision begins turning into human work. Automated tractors can no longer repeat rows with centimeter-level accuracy, so some farms pause the most precise operations. Port software loses confidence in the exact position of containers, cranes, and vehicles. Workers verify identification numbers by sight. Rideshare pickups spread across nearby corners. Couriers photograph doors and call recipients. A road crew checks measurements that yesterday came from a receiver in seconds. The public experiences inconvenience, but specialized users experience a sudden change in how the job is performed. GPS made difficult measurements feel free. Remove it, and the older costs return. More people, more radio calls, slower speeds, and larger safety margins. The same principle reaches the airport and harbor. Crews have radar, inertial navigation, radio aids, paper charts, and visual references. But a busy system designed around precise electronic positioning cannot move the same amount of traffic through a narrower margin of certainty. A container still reaches a truck, but only after a worker confirms it. An aircraft still lands, but perhaps on a different approach with more spacing. Nothing has collapsed. Capacity is quietly shrinking. At the end of the first hour, we reach the part most people never see. GPS is not fundamentally a map watching you from space. It is a collection of extremely accurate clocks, broadcasting where each satellite is and the exact moment its signal left. Your receiver measures tiny differences in arrival time. Because radio waves travel at the speed of light, time becomes distance. Several satellites turn those distances into a position, while an additional signal helps correct the cheap clock inside the receiver. The phone does the geometry. The satellite never needs to know who is listening. That one-way design lets billions of devices use the service at once. But the same broadcast can also provide something more valuable than location, a shared clock. Cell towers, financial systems, data centers, and parts of the electrical grid use precise time to compare events occurring far apart. At hour 1, the visible navigation failures are already familiar. The next phase is quieter. Machines that borrowed their rhythm from space must now survive using the clocks and connections they already own. During the next few hours, the outcome depends on preparation. A good receiver does not treat one signal as its only witness. Vehicles compare satellite navigation with inertial sensors and maps. Aircraft crews compare it with onboard systems, radio navigation, and instructions from the ground. Timing equipment may switch to fiber, another trusted network reference, or a local oscillator. Engineers call the ability of a clock to continue after losing its reference holdover. Imagine a drummer continuing after the conductor leaves. At first, the beat sounds unchanged. Tiny errors then accumulate. A high-quality clock can remain useful much longer than a cheap one, and a facility with independent timing may barely notice the satellite outage. A cheaper clock may also look fine at first, which is what makes the next stage deceptive. Two systems can both be operating while their versions of now are slowly separating. That is why our milestones are not universal failure deadlines. They mark changes in the scenario, not promises that every tower breaks at the same minute. By the next phase, the region has divided into 3 groups: systems with independent sources, systems surviving on stored rhythm, and systems that already need people to compensate. By the middle of the morning, transportation is bending rather than breaking. The Federal Aviation Administration already publishes guidance for interference and tells pilots to be prepared for navigation without GPS. Aircraft can continue safely using independent instruments and conventional aids, but routes, separation, and available approaches may change. The likely result is reduced capacity, longer paths, diversions, delayed departures, and canceled approaches before anything resembles falling airplanes. Shipping follows the same logic. A ship can use radar charts, visual references, and trained watchkeepers, but congested waterways and modern ports lose efficiency when electronic position becomes uncertain. Harbor controllers increase spacing. Cranes wait for confirmation. Trucks queue while a container is checked twice. A delay at one gate then becomes an empty slot somewhere else. A truck misses its appointment, a crew waits, and the next vessel inherits the queue. Each decision is rational. Together, they spread delay through a network. A backup is not a duplicate of normal operation. It preserves the essential function at a higher cost. 4 hours into this scenario, the question is no longer whether vehicles can move. It is how much movement the region can safely process. As the day continues, timing resilience becomes visible in the cellular network. A tower that loses its satellite reference does not necessarily shut down. Its internal oscillator keeps the rhythm, and some sites receive time through fiber or another source. But clocks that are no longer corrected can drift at different rates. Neighboring cells may disagree about when to transmit, waste radio capacity, or make a handoff less reliable. One neighborhood may keep normal service while another sees slower data or dropped calls. A person walking across town can therefore experience the outage as a patchwork. A normal call, a failed handoff, then service again. Dense cities and rural areas can fail differently because the equipment, traffic, and backup connections are different. Engineers isolate questionable sites, switch references, and protect essential service. The outage becomes a race between accumulated clock error and human intervention. This reveals an uncomfortable economic fact. Resilience has a budget. Better clocks, diverse connections, and continuous monitoring cost money. The public sees signal bars. Operators see a map of clocks, each with a different amount of trustworthy time remaining. Around the middle of our 24-hour experiment, money creates a different kind of problem. Banks do not use GPS to decide your balance. Financial systems use precise timestamps to establish the sequence of events. 2 orders can reach different machines almost simultaneously. Exchanges, institutions, and regulators need records that show which arrived first, when a price changed, and what responded afterward. If clocks disagree, the money does not disappear, but confidence in the audit trail weakens. Systems may reject data, pause automated activity, use another timing source, or send records for investigation. Most payment cards continue working through networks with multiple layers of redundancy. The hidden loss is certainty about the record. A trade can be valid while its place in the sequence is disputed. Data centers face a related challenge. Messages and database changes travel through different routes at different speeds. Shared time helps engineers reconstruct failures and determine which event caused another. Without it, a log can contain all the right events in an uncertain order. After half a day, well-protected facilities are still comparing independent clocks. Vulnerable ones are collecting a growing folder of events that may need to be reviewed later. The electrical grid produces the most frightening image, so it needs the most precise answer. Losing satellite timing does not command every generator to switch off. Utilities have local measurements, protection systems, operating procedures, and backup clocks. What synchronized timing gives them is a shared view across distance. Measurements from substations can be compared to observe oscillations, locate disturbances, and understand where a fault began. When some timestamps become questionable, operators may remove those measurements, trust local information, and run the network with larger safety margins. The grid can remain on while its distant picture becomes less sharp. Risk rises if the outage lasts, backups are weak, false timing goes undetected, or an unrelated problem arrives at the same moment. Severe weather, equipment failure, or heavy demand is harder to diagnose when clocks disagree. GPS loss does not manufacture that second event. It removes precision and awareness, making an ordinary failure more difficult to understand and contain. 18 hours into the experiment, the danger is not darkness created from nothing. It is operators having less reliable information when they most need it. Late in the day, trust becomes more important than availability. A receiver can lose satellite navigation in two broad ways. Jamming overwhelms the faint signals arriving from orbit, so the receiver knows it cannot hear clearly. Spoofing is more deceptive. A false signal persuades the receiver that position or time is different. A confidently wrong answer can be more dangerous than a clean outage. This is why resilient systems compare sources that fail differently. An aircraft compares satellite position with inertial movement and radio navigation. A ship compares it with radar and visible landmarks. A timing receiver can compare satellite time with a local clock or network reference and reject an impossible jump. Owning two identical receivers is not true redundancy if both listen to the same compromised sky. The outage is also unlikely to look uniform. GPS, Galileo, GLONASS, and Beidou are operated separately, and modern receivers may combine them, but weak signals reaching similar parts of the radio spectrum can still be affected near the user. By hour 24, one facility may be stable, another slower, and a third unsure which of its records can be trusted. At the 24-hour mark, civilization has not switched off. It has become slower, less precise, and more dependent on people. Emergency crews spend longer confirming some locations. Ports process fewer movements. Airlines reduce capacity in affected airspace. Surveying and precision agriculture postpone work. Communications vary from normal to degraded depending on each site's clock and backup connection. Financial and data systems preserve essential service while marking uncertain records for review. The economic damage comes less from one giant machine stopping than from millions of small decisions becoming cautious. A driver confirms an address. A controller widens a gap. An engineer rejects a measurement. A bank checks an event twice. Each action is sensible, but every action consumes time and capacity. And the lost capacity leaves a physical backlog. Trucks outside a port, packages waiting for confirmation. Aircraft and crews no longer where tomorrow's schedule expects them to be. The region now contains two invisible maps, where the signal was lost and where resilience had been purchased before the crisis. The second map explains most of the difference between inconvenience and emergency. Then, the signals return. Phones find a position almost immediately, and the blue dot makes the crisis appear finished. Critical systems cannot be that trusting. A receiver first compares the returning signal with its local clock, inertial estimate, fiber reference, or other independent source. Engineers look for impossible jumps. Towers resynchronize without creating new interference. Data centers compare logs. Financial institutions inspect the period when clocks disagreed. Utilities validate measurements before restoring them to the wide area picture. A clean outage is easier to understand than a deceptive signal because everyone knows when the information was absent. If false data entered a system, operators must identify which records were contaminated and which decisions depended on them. They may isolate the doubtful window, restore clean measurements first, and correct clocks gradually instead of forcing every machine to jump at once. Recovery therefore happens at different speeds. Consumer navigation may feel normal in minutes, while an audit of the previous day lasts much longer. The return of the sky begins a second operation, deciding which information from the blackout deserves to survive. The lesson is not to abandon satellite navigation. GPS and the other constellations are among the most useful infrastructures ever built. The lesson is to stop treating any single source as magic. Networks can distribute time through fiber. Facilities can install better local clocks. Vehicles can combine inertial sensors, maps, and radio signals. Receivers can compare multiple constellations and detect behavior that does not make physical sense. Operators can practice older procedures before an emergency forces them to remember. Resilience is not a bunker that waits for disaster. It is the ordinary ability to notice disagreement, slow down safely, and keep the essential service alive while people investigate. The blue dot feels effortless because thousands of engineers hide the complexity. But when you open a map, you are borrowing atomic clocks from machines moving thousands of kilometers above Earth. That borrowed time helps a tower transfer your call. a market order, its records, a data center, reconstruct an event, and a utility, understand its grid. The most unsettling discovery is not that modern life depends on satellites. It is that much of modern life depends on distant machines agreeing on one invisible fact, exactly what time it is.